Still frustrated because your chisels get dull quickly? In this video, I'll show you a simple trick that's rarely known, but the results are mind-blowing. You can get your old chisels razor sharp again in just a few minutes. The materials are easy to find and definitely economical. Watch until the end, because the secret is in the final section. First, prepare the wood, measuring tools and markers, as shown in my video. Make sure you have all the tools ready to make the process easier, neater, and produce optimal results. Once everything is ready, we can move on to the next step.
So before you go back to sharpening your chisels as usual, be sure to watch this video all the way through. In the following steps, I'll show you the complete, easy-to-follow steps of this secret technique. Don't miss a single part, as the small details I'll share could be the difference between a mediocre chisel and a truly super sharp chisel. The first step is to accurately mark the wood surface and measure the desired dimensions. Ensure each line is clearly visible, as it will serve as a guide during the carving process. Accurate markings will result in a neater, more precise carving that matches the intended shape. Take some time to ensure the lines are accurate, as accuracy in the initial stages will significantly impact the quality of your final work. Once the guidelines are complete, the next step is to cut the marked areas. Cut slowly and follow the lines precisely to ensure a neat and precise cut. Ensure the tool's position is always controlled to avoid errors that could affect the final shape of the wood. Once the marked area has been successfully cut, trim each edge of the cut using a sharply sharpened chisel. Work slowly, following the desired shape to create a smoother and more precise wood surface. At this stage, the sharpness of the chisel will significantly contribute to a clean cut without damaging the wood grain. Continue refining until the desired shape and size are achieved. Once the cutting process is complete, the next step is to smooth out the cut area using a sanding machine. Run the machine slowly and evenly on each side to create a smoother, flatter, and more precise wood surface. This step is crucial for removing cut marks and perfecting the final shape, resulting in a neater and more professional-looking finish. Once the wood surface is completely smooth and even, place the chisel on the finished part to ensure it's the correct size. Check to see if the chisel fits snugly and aligns with the groove. If there are any areas that aren't quite right, make minor adjustments until the chisel fits perfectly and the result is exactly as expected. Once the chisel is aligned and correct, mark the spot on the wood where the bolt will be installed. Mark it precisely to ensure the hole you'll drill is in the correct position. Precise marking will simplify the drilling process and ensure the bolt is securely and neatly installed. Pay close attention to this section. This step is crucial because it will determine the exact position of the bolt holes. Ensure the marks you make are correct and align with the chisel's position to ensure a smooth drilling process and a neater, more secure installation. Once the drilling point has been accurately marked, the next step is to drill the marked area. Drill slowly and perpendicularly to ensure a neat hole and the correct bolt size. Pay attention to the drill's position and ensure it remains on the designated spot for precise results. Once the drilling process is complete, we move on to the next step. Ensure the holes are clean and the correct dimensions. Once everything is correct, we can proceed to the installation phase, where all the components are connected and function properly. Next, install the bolts into the pre-drilled holes. Insert the bolt slowly, ensuring they are positioned correctly to prevent them from tilting when tightening. Next, install the nuts on the ends of the bolts and tighten them using the appropriate tools. Ensure the bolts and nuts are securely installed to ensure all components fit together perfectly. A neat installation will make the tool stronger, safer to use, and look more professional. Once the bolts are installed, carefully inspect the assembly to ensure that all parts are securely fastened. Gently wiggle the assembly to ensure there are no loose or shifting parts. If it still feels loose, adjust the bolts by retightening them until they are snug. This inspection step is crucial to ensure a secure, neat, and long-lasting installation. Once everything is securely installed, we move on to the next step. Ensure each part is positioned correctly to ensure smooth operation and optimal results. Then we move on to the next stage, the sharpening process. At this stage, the install will be gradually sharpened to achieve maximum sharpness. Sharpen at the correct angle and with steady movements to ensure the chisel edge is sharper and more even. Pay close attention to each step, as this process will determine the quality and performance of the chisel when used. Now it's time to sharpen the chisel until it's truly sharp. Sharpen slowly and consistently, maintaining a stable angle for even results. Continue sharpening until the chisel blade is smooth and at its maximum sharpness. Don't rush this step, as careful sharpening will result in a sharper, more durable chisel, and a much neater and more precise workmanship. Once the chisel is perfectly sharp, it's time to test it. Try using the chisel on previously carved wood and observe how the chisel blade cuts through the grain easily and cleanly. If the chiseling process feels light and the cut is neat and smooth, it indicates that the sharpening process has been successful. Pay attention to the results. A sharp chisel will provide more precise cuts and make the job much easier. Once the chisel is perfectly sharp, it's time to test it. Try using the chisel on previously carved wood and observe how the chisel blade cuts through the wood grain easily and cleanly. If the chiseling process feels light and the cut is neat and smooth, it indicates that the sharpening process has been successful.
And here's the final result. It looks neat, strong, and definitely meets expectations. This simple method makes the job easier, and the results are more optimal. I hope this tutorial is helpful and useful for all of you.